back to the channel. Yeah, this one we're pretty much going to do some small stuff real quick. I'm essentially going to be swapping out this blank plate for the horn, taking these off and making them flat. So just going to use my quick little piece, throw that on. Oh, once I can get in there, throw it on there, impact it off for each one, and then I have some flat ones that I can hopefully use with the rev limiter ones. So let's get into it. Pretty sure I have a replacement, but let's see. Just do our little check just to make sure that way we don't surf through a whole bunch of bolts and don't find anything. But cool, yeah, I should have this. It's M5. Now that we have them side by side, you can see the differences. Not really much, but same distance, just flat on top. So let's put it on. Technically, if we were using the horn, we'd be set up to kind of get everything hooked up in here, but since we're not, and this is just going to be for show, we don't care. Can you tell how long this thing's been on there? Color's completely different now from what it used to be. But yeah, man, looks good. Throw it in. Wheels are turning, but for the time being, yeah, man, looks good. If only it worked, but we don't need it to work. We're golden. Last couple little things I need to do. I'm gonna put this heat sleeve on top of the AN line. That's basically my breather going to my catch can because it's just close to everything. So rather not. So way easier to get in than out, but I'm gonna go ahead and take this part real quick so we can slide this on and then we should be good. Once it's on, just twist and pull. Most of us know how to do that. Now time to cinch it back together. Coolio. Got it back together, pull it all the way up. Let's put it back on there, shall we? That's gonna be a pain. And we're on. So at least that's out of the way. Done. Really debating because of everything else that's kind of going on. Taking this off and taking this off to get it coated. And then a couple other items at the same time. So decisions. I really want to drive this car first before I get that far. So as soon as I can get my radiator back, then we can throw that in and put it down, drive it for a second, enjoy it for maybe a couple weeks, and then really tear it down. So after a long debate with myself internally, I'm pretty much going to go through the process of going ahead and swapping the subframe out to get this in. It's going to take a little bit longer for the radiator, but that way we'll just focus on what we can focus on and keep it pushing. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to try to keep everything as best we can. I'm going to line up where the alignment marks are. I'm probably going to still need an alignment. So Pat, coming at you if you see this here afterwards. But yeah, we're just going to get started knocking this stuff out. I'm basically zip tied the steering column here at the bottom in hopes that once I take it off, it'll just hang itself there and hold up, but off the subframe. And then everything else, I got this wheel off already to show you. I am planning to take, well, let me get some light here. All right, that's a little bit better. So game plan is to essentially disconnect everything that is connected to the subframe. So disconnect down here, disconnect right here. Basically gonna leave everything dangling that I can, because this is not that's not connected to the subframe. The coilover is not connected to the subframe. Once you take that off, this will pop out and then just let dangle, because it's gonna be zip tied up there. So hopefully it'll stay together. Might even zip tie the ends here just so I don't adjust any of that. But yeah, And then take all these off for the upper and lower control arms, and then we should be free. So we shall see if it is that easy. I don't think it's gonna be, but we're gonna give it a go. So we got our engine hoist, because I don't have the hoist that'll just keep your motor with the sitting right up top. So I'm just gonna use that, move it over here, hold it up, and then yeah, pretty much get started on this. So let's get into it. And here we are. So got the hoist in place, legs down, locked in. Underneath, that's the only pain point, is trying to figure out how to get the subframe out. But cross that road when we get to it. Same way we did last time. It was kind of in the way, laying on the legs. So once it's off and nothing else is connected to it, it should be pretty easy to pull out of there. It's gonna be a little bit of a pain, I'm sure, to put the new one in, but like I said, we'll cross it when we get there. So it's just holding it up for the time being, protecting, because I know this is gonna pull forward, trying to avoid taking the hood off. May regret that later. But all the contact points for the hoist set. And then we have our equipment for today. We got a 19, we got 14s, and then we got the 21 for the upper on there. So we can just get into it, knock this stuff out, hopefully within an hour or so, at least dropping the subframe. And since you guys have seen me take my subframe off before, I'm just gonna knock this out real quick, so time lapse it up. Top, bolt out. Hasn't been offered the life of this car, so I'm just recording it for my own purpose. But nut, big washer, small washer. Order of operations to put it back together. So small washer, big washer, bolt. Everything done for this side. We're gonna take the lower control arms off once we take the subframe out, so we can just transfer everything over and then essentially bolt it up, put it back together, keep going. So let's get to the other side. All right, so we got it all up. Most of the bolts of the subframe are off. I just need 2 more to drop it down. All the engine mounts are out. Everything's just kind of hanging there. And then I have a jack underneath for additional support, just sitting on the bottom of the oil pan. But yeah, everything so far so good. The rack is also dismounted, but the zip ties appear to be holding themselves together. So hopefully that holds true. It looks like it is. So far so good. And yeah, so get the rest of the subframe out and then drag it out of here. All right, so we got the full subframe all the way out, which is beautiful, beautiful. I'm gonna basically, everything is just hanging right on the hoist itself. So that's supporting everything right now. Unfortunately, our zip tie trick didn't work. Need to be up higher next time. But yeah, so I pulled the jack out. I lowered it slowly just to make sure that this would support itself. And then I will pull this out, drag it out of the way. All right, subframe is completely out. Drop down to the bottom. I had to take off one, I think both sides. Just for the upper, the lower I took off on this side, and I was able to kind of finagle it out a little bit. So we got all the way out, drag this all the way out completely, and then we'll take off the other arms. Then we can work on putting the other one in. All right, then we can go ahead and just start working on taking the last little bit of this off, and then we should be set. And just to do a quick comparison between the two, stock thick boy, which is actually not super strong, and then strong skinny boy. So should have access to do pretty much everything under the car too, as far as like oil pan and stuff like that if I need to, or need to get to it again. I'm sure one day I will. But now I'm just gonna try and get this in there real quick, and then I need to order some new eccentric bolts. All right, but other than that, yeah, throw it in there. I need to get new eccentric bolts, which, I mean, those have been on there forever. Like, those are the original. So, gonna get some new ones anyway. Front and rear, I guess. Yeah, might as well. And then I think that's it for the time being, just to get this in. Hopefully by the time maybe next week, something like that, we'll have the car on the ground and driving again, but we have some other stuff we can tackle while we're at it. But let's get done with this. Almost there, almost there. Got it almost lined up. Just need to lift up the back, and this thing is super light, super light. So I'm very happy so far, but let's see if it lines up with everything, shall we? All right, a buddy of mine just came through, helped me out with the final piece of this subframe that I was messing around with for hours yesterday, trying to get the motor mounts in. If I remember correctly, you need to have the driver's side. If anybody else is doing this recently, driver's side in first, then passenger side. Makes it easier. Attach it to the motor itself, then slide it into the subframe on the driver's side. Passenger side, just finagle it till you get it in there, and then push the motor over if you can. Makes it easier. If you have a hoist, something like that, but either which way. Done now. Okay, so probably not much more light, but you can see I can literally see everything in here, which is crazy how much room there is. You can get to the motor or the oil pan with ease now, which I'm very thankful for. Here's the view from the top. Want more room. You can see through pretty much all the way to the ground, which is crazy. View from directly underneath. Ignore my steering rack. Fell off. My zip tie trick did not work. But yeah, man. So we got this started, and then now that this is done and out of the way and finally up, I'm just waiting on some pieces to show up so we can get on to the biggest fun party show ever. So we'll go over that all next week. But yeah, ordered some bushings. So these don't look like they're terrible, actually, which is crazy. This car's 31 years old, but has 105,000 miles on it. So yeah, show you all that stuff. But yeah, man, that's it for this one. I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what y'all want to see. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.